Hi, everyone. Welcome to our presentation on the new renewal system. I'm Stephanie Short. I'm the Shenandoah Area Council Registrar. As you can see, my contact information is on there. I want to start this video by telling you that as a registrar, I receive new information every week with updates and changes to the system. So I specifically dated this presentation because this is accurate as of this point. Tomorrow, some of the information here may not be relevant anymore. It seems like every day I'm getting new information, so I will try to communicate that information to the units. But as of today, this presentation is accurate as far as everything that I know about the new system. Also, this presentation is I made it specifically for the Shenandoah Area Council volunteers. However, the individual renewal section of this presentation can be used for any council and any unit. This is National's individual renewal system. So that part is relevant to everyone. The unit recharter section will most likely only be relevant to our council. The way that we are doing unit recharters is what I'm going to go over in that section, which your council may not be doing it in that manner. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. So in this presentation, we're going to go over two separate but connected parts. We have our individual membership renewal and our unit recharter. In years past, these were the same thing. They went together. This year, they do not. They are two distinctly separate parts. So first, we're going to go over individual renewal, registration renewal. There are two different options for this. Either the unit can opt to pay for it, or the family or individual, they call it family self-pay. Both of these options have an online option for payment and an in-person option for payment. But first we're going to go over the family self-pay option. To begin with, there is a great video that was put out there by Chris Crawley, Deputy Scout Executive in Central Florida Council. His wife's individual renewal was due, so he was able to actually record the step-by-step process on how to do an individual renewal. So once we watch this video, then I will go over each step slower, with the pictures so that you all can see exactly what he was referring to. But let's watch this video first.
I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris Crowley. I'm the Deputy Scout Executive in the Central Florida Council, and we created this real quick video to show how easy it is to renew your membership in Scouting America. Hopefully, if your renewal date is coming up, you've received communication both from the National Council and your local council. That what you see on the screen right here is an example of one from the Central Florida Council, and it's actually to my wife, Melissa. Her registration will expire at the end of July because she signed up as a den leader in August last fall. So she received this email, and hopefully your council has also sent things like that. And you've seen the ones from the National Council too. They should look very similar. Within the email, it lets you know when your membership will expire, and it gives you two different hyperlinks that will take you to my.scouting to renew your membership, and that's where you want to go. So if you click on that, it's going to take you right to my.scouting, and you can see this is my wife's email address, and she's has a Gmail account, so it will preload. As you can see, it's loading in, and when you get here to my.scouting, you're going to see the bell right here, and it has a 1 by it. And the registration for Melissa Crowley is expiring soon, so you click here to renew. It's pretty simple. And so she, like I said before, she's a den leader. So she wants to renew as a den leader again. So you just say go to payments. And then there's different things that you want to review. There's requirements to be a leader in Scouting America. Also, it talks about the approval of unit adults and council and district adults. I want to get a chance to look through those. And it talks about your annual membership registration through the BSA, also the private policy and what the program is in the BSA, trainings that are available and what makes a trained leader. It also talks about youth protection, because we all know that Scouting's main goal is to make sure we can provide a safe and secure environment for our great Scouting programs. It talks about the different things and youth protection policies that we have. And then it talks a little bit about the Scout Oath and Law and Scouting Magazine, which is a great thing for adult leaders to have. And it talks about the background check disclosures that vary between different states. When you get all the way down to the bottom, you are going to see a place where you can sign. So I'm going to sign for my wife because she said I can for this example. And then you just go out to checkout summary and click it there. And bam, it takes you already to this. And what you're going to see that pops up is after it populates, it's going pretty quick right now, is you'll see the different fees that are associated with your renewal. So if we just give a second, you're going to see right here, again, the BSA adult registration is $65 here. In the Central Florida Council, we do have a program fee, so it's a council fee of $40. There's an administrative fee. And then there's Scout Life Magazine. Again, I highly encourage all of our adult leaders to get Scout Life Magazine. It gives you ideas. It gives you just a sense that there's lots of different adult leaders throughout the country, and we try to highlight different things and new innovative programs that are happening so we can better serve the Scouts and all of our PAC's troops and ships and posts and crews. And so you can do this right here. You definitely want to keep that checked. And then it's time where you can update your credit card information. You put all the different things right here. Your billing address, it makes it easy because that's where we live, and it's the same as saved address. You can put it in. And then once you do, you just hit place order and you're done. And that's how you renew your membership in Scouting America. So hopefully keep an eye out for emails from both the National Council and your local council to they'll give you an update of when your renewal needs to take place. And I hope this video will help you. But again, thank you so much for everything you do for Scouting.
So that was a great presentation. Gives you a quick video to refer to if you need to. It is on his personal YouTube account. But he did a great video there to demonstrate individual registration. So one of the things he spoke about though was council emails. Unfortunately, at this point, there is not an accurate report that I can pull that shows exactly who needs to be renewed. The report that I can pull, it also includes anyone who's changed a position. So if you had an assistant scoutmaster who became a scoutmaster, on this report I pull, it tells me that they need to renew their assistant scoutmaster position, even though they are already currently registered as a scoutmaster and don't need to renew it. But because there was a position change, it is telling me that it needs to be renewed. It will also include Era of Lights who transferred to a troop. So even though they are currently registered in a troop, it is still telling me that they need to renew their PAC registration. So I don't have a specific report that I can pull that will auto-populate only those who truly need to be renewed versus those who've switched units or switched positions. If we were perhaps a bigger council, maybe like the Central Florida Council, maybe they have enough personnel that they can have someone who can take several reports and combine them to get an actual reporting of who needs to be renewed. But right now, we just don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that. Hopefully that reporting process will be improved, and at some point I will be able to send out those council emails telling them they need to be renewed. But as of right now, I don't have that option. So on this page, you'll see that national emails, they get sent out 60, 30, 15, and 1 day prior, and then 7 days after. There are 5 emails that it gets sent over a 9-week period. At any point during that 60-day period, they can be renewed. It adds to their expiration date. So even if they were to renew, say August 1st, but they don't expire until September 31st or 30th, whatever, the end of September. It will add from the end of September a year. So you can renew at any point within that 60-day period, and it will add to your renewal process. So there is a 2-month lapse period. If they do not renew, they will, in the example here, it would expire on July 31st, but they will not drop until October 1st. However, I was told yesterday that unless the renewal has been completed and approved through the units, even though they remain on your roster, you cannot input any advancements for scouts during that lapsed period. It evidently, even though they're supposed to be able to, at this point currently as of yesterday, people could not input any advancements for individual renewals who had not been fully completed and approved through the unit. Units can also renew during this time, but again, right now we're going to go through the individual self-pay option, and then I will get to the unit side of option to pay for their members. So the first thing that happens is you get an email. This goes to the parent or guardian who is associated with this scout, or if they are a leader, it will go to the leader themselves. It includes their member ID, what unit they're with, what their position is, and their registration term. It also has a very handy link to click here. It will prompt them to log into their My.Scouting. If they cannot remember their My.Scouting login, please do not make a new one. It happens all the time. It's not a big deal, but please contact your registrar. Contact me to find out what your username, what your login is. If you have connected it to a Google or Apple login, I can't, and you don't remember it, I can't necessarily fix that, but I can fix it within a day through National, but I personally can't fix that. But if you need login information, please contact me, and I can give you your username and I can reset your password. And if you need to update a email, I can also do that for you so that you can reset your own password in that way. So once you log into your My.Scouting, you can see here, it shows you there's the little bell with the 1 on it. Also, if you were to click under My Application, it would also take you to the next page as well. But you can click here to renew. It tells you who's up for renewal. You click here to renew. Once you do that, you'll notice that there are tabs at the top: membership, transfer multiple applications, My Application, and My Renewals. My Renewals are where this is located. And you can see it lists a person and the position when they are to expire. And in this case, it's showing that registration is soon to expire. So it's telling you you need to renew them and you need to start renewal. Click the Start Renewal button. There's going to be several examples of these pictures with different renewals. So in this case, they're showing you what a youth renewal would look like. It shows you when their expiration date is, what the future expiration date will be. So as I said, it just adds a year on to whatever the expiration date is. And you can go to preview from a youth application. It will do the same thing for a leader application, or leader, I shouldn't use the word application, a leader renewal. It will do the same thing. It will show you the different positions that you can have. You can set particular ones as primary. So maybe you're registered, in this case, they're registered in a PAC and a troop. Well, right now, the primary position for this individual is set as at committee member on the PAC level. Well, maybe they've decided that they want their primary position to be the COR on the troop level. Really, it doesn't make a difference. In my opinion, as registrar, it doesn't make a difference. The COR is the COR, the charter org representative is going to be who if I'm doing a key 3 contact, I'm going to contact that person anyways. So primary position, in my opinion, isn't a huge deal, but that would be up to the individual. I will say you can remove positions from here, but do not remove them all. You cannot change yourself to a new position. An individual cannot change themselves to a new position because that has to be approved through your charter org representative. So if you were to remove all your positions, then you are not renewing in the unit. My advice would be is if you are not going to be a committee member, maybe you are switching to committee chair, but it's not listed on there, go ahead and do your individual renewal, and then we can fix it afterwards. But trying to do it during your individual renewal will not work. So once you click continue and go through, it will bring you to the terms and conditions. This is the one that Chris Crawley went over. It is different for parents versus a leader renewal. The one that Chris went over was a leader renewal, so it went over what the requirements are for a leader. The parent one goes over what the requirements are, or what the rule of parents in scouting is. So they're slightly different. And then you sign at the bottom there and click go to checkout summary. So there are two options for family self-pay. You can pay with a credit card, which the screen is showing you. It breaks down what you're paying for. You're paying for a BSA national membership, which for adults is now 65 and for youth is now 85. I know the numbers shown there aren't quite accurate. It will have your council fee. For our council, we have a $6 insurance fee that is charged. So that would show there. There's an administration fee. That is National's credit card fee. And then there's the Scout Life fee. You'll notice there's a little box. You can unclick it, but it does automatically have it checked. It will tell you the amount due, and then when you scroll down, it will give you billing information that will autofill as long as it's the same as the saved address, and then you will place your order. That is to pay with a credit card. There is also the option to pay in council, which I will go over in a few minutes. But if you are paying with a credit card, you might as well just continue and pay this way, because if you are trying to come into our council and pay with a credit card for your renewal, we will be charging you the same credit card fee. So unless you're paying with something other than a credit card, I would suggest you just continue through this process and finish with your renewal. So if there are any issues with the renewal, if the individual, because after an individual puts in their renewal, the unit still has to approve it, which we'll go over in a few minutes. But if the unit doesn't approve the renewal, or maybe there was an issue with a credit card payment, it was declined, the email you'll get will be somewhat similar to this, but this is specifically for a declined renewal from a unit. It does refund the membership fee back to whatever credit card they used. But if it was a issue with a credit card, it will be similar to this, and it will have directions on how to fix that. So the other option is pay at council. This is a very bad scan of what should be presented to the council when they come in to pay. This is for individuals who are opting to pay with cash or check. If you're going to pay with credit card, you might as well just pay it online and be done with it, because we charge the same credit card fee in our council. But if you are paying with cash or check, this is an option that is available to you. It gives you a sheet. You have to print it out. It tells you the name of the person you are renewing, their member ID, what unit they're with. If they want Scout Life, it breaks out the fees, and then you are to bring that with your check or cash to the local council. So once an individual pays for a unit has to approve, unless you click the auto option, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But in order for that renewal to be completed successfully, you have the COR, the charter org representative, or the charter org representative delegate must accept adult renewals. P3 can accept the youth renewals. So you'll see a screen, you'll have to log into, and by the way, it does not, as of right now, it is not sending an email to alert leaders that there is an application waiting to be approved, or that there is a renewal waiting to be approved. At this point, it does not send that. So you will need to log in periodically to see if there are renewals waiting for approval, unless you do an auto accept option, which again, we'll talk about in a minute. So if you don't do the auto accept option, you will go into your my.scouting, you'll go under your menu, you will select the unit, and then you will go to your roster. At the bottom of the roster, you'll see membership renewal orders. You'll click on it to expand it, and then you'll see something like what is shown on the screen. Notice the approve or do not approve is somewhat grayed out. It is that way in real life. These were ones that need to be approved or not approved, and that's exactly what it looks like. They don't highlight when you hover over them, at least as of yesterday, they did not. So I had one that I had to accept for my unit, because I am, as a volunteer, I am a committee chair and a COR delegate. And so I went in and accepted a youth application. I luckily hovered over the approved and clicked, because again, it doesn't highlight it. It doesn't indicate that that's what you're clicking on. So be very careful about where you're clicking in that box. So you will need to approve it or not approve it. If you do not approve it, there, as of right now, from what I know, there's nothing that I can do to correct that. So please be sure to make sure that you're clicking on that approve if that's what you truly are wanting to do. So now we're going to talk about individual renewals that are unit paid. And again, this is completely separate from your unit recharter. This is unit paid individual renewals. So the national will send the key 3 an email. I received this the middle of July. It was the first email I had ever received. I was told from some of my leaders yesterday that they received some August 1st if they had someone expiring the end of August. So based on that, I would say they're going to send them out maybe twice a month, once at the beginning and once in the middle with updates. But I cannot confirm that right now. I don't know for sure. This is just me assuming. So this is the email that I received for my own unit. It told me what individuals were expiring and when they're expiring. So you'll see in this example, I have 2 youth that are expiring or that did expire the end of July, and I have a youth and an adult leader who expires the end of August. Included in this email at the bottom is, this is the second part of that email, it lists non-renewing people and people who have opted out. So if it was to send me one in the middle of August and any of those individuals on this top part of this email that didn't, if they did not renew in July, I would assume that in August I would get an email and they would be listed under that list of or listing of opted out individuals possibly, or maybe there's a not renewed individuals option. I don't know. Again, this is, we're learning as we go. So we'll see, but it should also list if they renewed, it should list them under the list of renewed people there. So it should hopefully be giving key 3 information that you need as a leader to figure out who has renewed and who has not. So one of the things you need to decide as a unit, this is one of the first decisions that you need to decide. Are you going to pay for all your members? There is this option that units have, and you can choose to pay for all your member fees. You also can choose to cherry pick, so to speak, and only select certain members to renew. And if you're going to do that option, you do not click this box. But if you're choosing to pay for every single one of your youth and leaders, you can click this box and then it will let the unit pay for all the renewals. But that also means that units will have to be paying renewals whenever they are due. So if little Johnny joined in August of 23, you should have already made his renewal payment because he expired the end of July. So in July, you should have, as a unit, if you were opting to pay for all your, or for any of your unit renewals, you would have need to made a payment to either online or to the council office, paying for little Johnny's renewal. Same thing, if little Susie joined in October of 2023, you should be prepping to make a payment next month in September because they are expiring the end of September. Susie's expiring the end of September, so you need to either make the payment online or at the council, one of the shops or the council office. The majority of your members will expire in December. Again, this is still completely separate from your unit recharter. This is just individual renewals, but the majority of your members will have a December expiration date because in years past, traditionally, that's when we did unit recharter with membership expiration. But eventually, what you will see over the next couple of years is that the majority of your membership is going to have renewal dates in August, September, October timeframe, because that's when the majority of youth join when we do our fall recruitment in our schools. So you will see that shift. And if you choose as a unit, if you choose to pay for any or all of your members, then you will have to be on top of that and be doing those renewals every month. This is what I'm showing you here is an option where if you are paying for every single one of your members, leaders, youth, every single person, you click that box. So to find this, you would go to log into your My.Scouting, and this would be, I'm not sure if it's only for the COR or COR delegate or if the key 3 can do this. Traditionally, the key 3 was able to, but again, this is a new system, so some things we're told may not work and some may work. So you may have to just test it to figure out who has access to do this. But if you log into your My.Scouting, go to your menu, make sure you select the correct unit, go to your roster, and then go to settings. And then make sure you hit save at the end or else it won't save your selection. Your second decision as a unit is, are you going to select to auto approve your renewals? This is a great option if your unit chooses to do that. That means the part where I showed you earlier where you have to go in and approve or not approve, you won't have to do that. So a unit can choose to allow or to auto approve youth. They can choose to auto approve adults. It's a great option if you choose to do that. But again, you need to discuss that with your committee and your COR and see what that decision is. But whatever you choose, make sure you hit save. If a unit decides to pay for any of their members, whether it is we are paying for all our members or whether it is we are cherry picking our members and we are maybe only paying for our leaders, or maybe we have a couple youths who we know need financial assistance. And so we're going to go in and pay for those specific youth. You can do that within the 60-day period of their renewal date for any of the ones that you choose to renew. But no matter which way you choose, if the unit is choosing to pay for any of their members, these first steps are all the same. You have the ability to pay online or at council, but no matter which way you decide to do that, if you are choosing to pay for any of your members' renewals, these steps are all the same at the beginning. So you would log into your My.Scouting, you would click menu, make sure you're in the correct unit. If you're registered in multiple units, click your roster. You will click the box beside those that you are renewing. And again, it has to be within the 60-day period in order to actually renew someone. So you're clicking on the box of those you choose to renew, and you would click renew. Now, be aware that individuals can opt out, which means they're choosing not to renew. At least that's what it's supposed to mean. Now, they may have opted out on accident, not realizing that that's what it meant, but that's what it means, is that they do not want to renew. If you as a unit leader still select their name and pay for them, there will be no refunds issued because you had the warning that they were opting out. If the individual accidentally selected opt out and you chose, clicked on the box beside their name and clicked renewal, It is my understanding that they will be renewed. So I know, I've spoke to some leaders and they've told me that the parents didn't realize what it meant and they're all opted out. And they didn't know. They just thought it meant opting out of emails or something. So if that is the case and you know that they're going to renew, if you are within that 60-day window, my understanding is that if you click and renew them and complete the renewal process, that they will be renewed even if they are opted out. So once you go through the process, you'll see it pops up another window that does their primary registrations. It also lets you know what their new expiration date will be. It lets you select Scout Life subscription for these individuals. Then you will get to actually go to payment. So at the bottom of your roster, there's unit orders and unit orders by batches. You might have to click to expand them because sometimes they're not auto expanded, but then you would go to the payment. Make sure that your unit order is correct and that you've selected the correct people to renew, but then you go to payment. Now, on the payment page, it will show you what is owed total as a unit. It will show you how many adult registrations you have. In this case, it's adult registrations. I would assume if you had youth registrations, it would also have a line there for traditional youth registration with the fee of what you owe. It has the council fee, because again, our council, we charge $6 a person to cover insurance. So that would be on there. It has your Scout Life fee. It also has an administration fee, because again, if you pay with credit card, National charges a 3.5% fee. We have been told that there should be an option for units to pay through e-check. I don't know if that is currently working. I have heard that it may not be. So that may be an option to pay, but it may not. There is always the option to pay at council. So there should also be, when you get to the payment summary, there should be a place where you can click pay at council. Again, this is what we know at this point. It may not be true tomorrow, or maybe they will fix the e-check option and maybe that will actually be an option tomorrow. I don't know. I cannot, I don't know what the future holds. So we're hoping that to get some of the bugs worked out of the system and that it will eventually work like it's supposed to and have all the options that we're told it has. But as of right now, the thing I do know it has is the pay with the credit card fee and it's supposed to have the pay at council option. If you decide to pay at council, it is supposed to give you a paper similar to that individual renewal when they self-paid, when they family or self-paid, where it gave a list of the individuals that were being renewed, their BSA number, what unit they were being renewed for, the position, and then it should have a breakdown of your total, just like you see here. That is what we have been told will be. So hopefully that is what actually is when you go in. If you as a unit decide to pay for individuals and you go in to use this and you want to pay at council, hopefully that is what you see. If you're in the Shenandoah Area Council and that is not what you see, please let me know. Because again, I only know what I know, and if I haven't been told that that option isn't there, then I don't know that. So this is the end of the individual renewals section. We are now going to start on unit recharters. And again, this is not individual renewals. That is completely separate. This is for our 2024 unit recharter. I guess technically it's the 2025 year renewal, but this will happen in this year. So 2024 unit recharter. This section will most likely be very specific to Shenandoah Area Council. And if you are watching this from another council, this may not apply to you. You would need to contact your local council to see what their decision is for a unit recharter. So as a council, we have decided that we are going with paper recharters this year. I know it kind of feels like that's a step backwards, but National System has a lot of bugs that haven't been completely worked out. They've been working on the system since March and they've been able to improve and work out some of the bugs, but there are still a lot of bugs in the system. So we as a council want to save our volunteers the frustration of dealing with a system that isn't really working and that I can't really help you because of all the bugs. If you have an issue, I have to take it to national. There's just things that I as a registrar do not have access to. So what does this mean for you? Well, really, in our council, it means nothing really extra. It actually will probably be less work on whoever in your unit is doing Recharter because we are still requiring the same paperwork. You still have to do your annual Recharter agreement with your executive head or your institute head, your charter org representative, and your committee chair signatures. You still need to turn in your JTE with your committee chair and either your scoutmaster or cub master signature. And you still have to turn in a unit roster, which you had to do last year. However, the difference will be is that you will print out an official unit roster from my.scouting, and the COR will need to sign each page of that official roster. And then, of course, you will have the $100 unit fee, which is the same thing that's been paid in the past. This is a unit recharter, not an individual recharter. So there is a difference here. And for our units, your unit recharter paperwork is all due by November 1st. Please do not wait till Friday, November 1st to turn in all this paperwork. You can turn it in at any point prior to November 1st. I can make due dates by the day, by the districts if we want, but really, and it can all this paperwork can be emailed to me. Of course, other than the $100 unit fee, but as far as the paperwork itself, you can scan it and email it to me, and that is fine. Either way, I have to print it out. So whether you bring me in a paper copy with the signatures or whether you email it and I print it out, either way, it just needs to be turned in, and I will take care of it on the backside. So I am saving all our unit volunteers the frustrations of dealing with this new system by going to a paper-only recharter. So please do not start or try to start your recharter online. Please just print out your unit roster, which I will show you in a little bit how to do that, and turn in this paperwork. So here's some of the issues that I've been informed happen with this new system. The first thing is that even though there's supposed to be a grace period, there is no grace period. Traditionally in the past, units would turn their paperwork in prior to their expiration date. A registrar would have time to go in, fix any errors, and then post it to make it official. However, in this new system, I personally have already been through this with one unit. There's no grace period. I don't have the option if there's something wrong with your unit and you don't have all your paperwork in and I don't have it in the system in time by your expiration date. Once they get into that lapse period, I can't fix it. I can't fix if you don't have the correct number of leaders. I can't fix if they're not in the correct position. There are things that as a registrar in the past I could do that I cannot do this year. So even though there's supposedly a grace period as of right now, as of yesterday, this was still not something that registrars could do. It's supposed to be happening, supposed to be coming. It's supposedly there, but it is not working in the system the way that National says it is. So some of the issues that other councils have had, you have to have the correct number of leaders. I am suggesting that all these issues you fix in August. You probably potentially could have through September to fix it, but really I'm suggesting that you get them done early, sooner rather than later, so that this doesn't cause an issue when we actually go to complete your recharter. One is that you have to have the correct number of leaders. You have to fill those 6 required spots. You have to have your executive head, your COR, your committee chair, your committee member, your new member coordinator, and a den leader if you are in Cubs. All those positions have to be filled. So if you have someone who is not going to renew for this next year and they're going to drop and you need to have someone fill that position as soon as possible and get them registered in that position. Now, we do online apps only. So for that, you would have them go to bascout.org, put the zip code in, put whether it's Cub or Troop, and hit search and find the unit, and then hit apply now to become a leader within your unit. That will, and then I can put them in the correct position, or the COR or COR delegate can move positions around. But that needs to be completed now, like in August or September. You also have to be in position. So in other words, if you have a scoutmaster who is stepping down and an assistant scoutmaster is going to take their spot, you need to do that now. You cannot wait till Recharter to move people around as you have in the past. You need to do that now. The problem is that, and some of you may already see this, if you go to your position manager and you have moved people around recently, you will see that in that scoutmaster position, you will now have two people showing on your position manager chart. It will say your previous scoutmaster and it will say your new scoutmaster. Your previous scoutmaster will be grayed out. There is nothing you can do. It is right now saying you have two scoutmasters, even though you really don't. And that is because of the lapse period. Individuals have a 2-month lapse period where they can still have access to anything that they had in that position. So any permissions that they had as a scoutmaster, they will still keep for 2 months. So if this is an individual that you do not want to have those permissions, the COR needs to email me and let me know, I want this person removed from this position and I want their lapse abilities, permissions removed as well. And then I, as registrar, can do it. If you, as a COR or COR delegate, are moving people around, it will keep that lapse period until 2 months, and then it will eventually drop them off your roster and your position manager in that position. So if you, and YPT. So even though YPT may not expire until January, this is giving some people issues in Recharter and other councils. Maybe their unit Recharter date was in July and the person's YPT didn't expire until August. It was giving them issues trying to do the Recharter. So I am suggesting anyone who has a YPT that is due between October to March, please go ahead and renew it. I mean, it will help with the headaches of Recharter. But it also just helps you prepare for the future as well, and that will eliminate that issue. So you need to have the correct number of leaders in the correct positions and YPTs completed, preferably in August, but you probably have through September to complete that. So the other thing in our council, we have Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has clearances that have to be submitted for leadership in order to volunteer as a leader. Last year, we required that every leader turn in a Pennsylvania clearances. There's 3 of them that they had to turn in. If you turn them in last year or have since registered and turned them in, and they are current, there is no need this year to turn in your Pennsylvania clearances. Only those with expired clearances or ones that are going to be expired in the current year need to turn in Pennsylvania clearances. And I do know there were some that expired over this past couple months. I will be going in and just like when YPT expires, the member gets suspended and they get a YPT email from us that says, please complete your YPT in order to be reinstated. That also goes to the Q3. The same thing will happen for Pennsylvania clearances here in the next month or so. I will be going through figuring out whose clearances are expired, suspending their membership, sending them an email telling them they need to renew or update their clearance. I will send the Q3 of the unit, the committee chair, the charter org representative, and the scoutmaster or cub master an email as well, letting them know that this person's clearances have expired and they are not to be participating as a leader at any of their events or meetings until it is completed. And then once they email me the clearance or come into the shops and hand it in, then we will reinstate them and they can go back to being a leader. So they are not required for this recharter season unless they have expired or are expiring in the next year. So within 2025, if they expire in 2025, then please go about getting those clearances and turn them in. So the main thing is do not start your recharter online. We're doing paper only, don't start it online. And the other thing to know is that unit recharters are priority over individual renewals. Now, why would I say this? Because if there is no unit, there is no place for individuals to renew to. So if your unit recharter doesn't get turned in and completed, then there is nowhere for individuals to renew their individual registration, no group for them to register with. So that is why unit recharters take priority over individual renewals. So as I stated earlier, most of our units will have a lot of individuals that their renewal period will be December 31st. That is not priority. That the unit recharter is the priority over the individual renewals, because individuals have, time after they expire to actually renew as well. Even though you can't put advancements in and stuff like that, they still have that time to renew. But unit recharters have to be completed in order for individuals to renew. Again, the unit recharters are due November 1st. Please don't wait until November 1st for everyone to come in to turn that paperwork in. Please try to stagger it out over the 2 weeks prior so that we can get all that turned in. So now I'm going to show you how to pull your official MyDOT Scouting roster. This is an example because I am also a volunteer, so this is under my MyDOT Scouting. So you would need to log into your MyDOT Scouting, click menu. You'll see where it has the where it says PAC 118 here. It has a little arrow button. You can click on that and you can choose if you are in multiple units and you're doing the renewal for a troop instead of the PAC. You can pull that down and you can click on that. If you are on a district or council level, it may actually default to the district or council level. So you would need to do the pull down menu anyways to find your unit. So once you did that and found your correct unit, you would click on roster. In the roster page, you'll see everyone listed who is in your unit, and you will click on export roster. It will give you the option to export to CSV which is Excel, or PDF. For internal use as a volunteer, if I was pulling this for my unit, I would pull it in CSV Excel because I want to verify all my members' information to make sure everything is accurate, specifically their emails, so I can make sure that they're getting emails when they need to get them. For recharting purposes, you are going to export to PDF because it has to be the official roster. It can't be the Excel CSV file. It has to be your actual PDF roster. So this is what a PDF roster looks like. I've pulled my own unit. I of course took out some private information, but you kind of get a gist of what is included in it. It has a lot of information, which is why I suggest you use the Excel version or the CSV version for your unit because it will tell you a lot of information. But for recharter purposes, you need to pull the PDF version. It may have more than one page. You notice I highlighted this was page 1 of 4. So when I go to get my paperwork signed by my COR, I'm going to take all 4 pages of my roster. The COR is going to sign or initial all 4 pages of my roster. And you can also redline this roster. So if you have, maybe in this case, maybe I had a youth here, Christian. Maybe Christian wasn't coming back. So I would just take a red pen and I would redline his name. As long as I could still see the name so I know who it is, That's how I want you all to, exit out, somehow indicate that they are not continuing. So that when I do the paperwork on my side, I can make sure that I take him off or the scout or leader off, and you all aren't, paying for them. So feel free to redline, to mark up this roster, but it does have to be the official roster from My Dot Scouting. If you pulled the roster, say you pulled a roster and got signatures the beginning of October, you had a new member, a new scout join through vascout.org the middle of October, but you've already had that recharter roster signed. As long as they have been officially joined, as long as that scout parent went to vascout.org, did the online application process, and they were accepted, that is fine, but you do need to add their name to the last page of your PDF roster. Because if it's not there, I will not realize that there has been a new member that joined since you got this roster submitted. So, and if you have already submitted the roster to me, say you turned it in the middle of October, but you had a new person join October 30th, and you have approved them, and they are now should be on your roster, please email that to me so that I can print out that email and add it to your recharter information. Because there is a chance that I will miss them if you don't get me that information. I don't automatically see that, so please be sure to get me that information. So again, your roster has to be in PDF form from My Dot Scouting, and it has to be signed by the COR every page, and that is what you are turning in. So to recap, this is what we need for our unit recharters this year. This is the paperwork that is needed, the annual recharter agreement, which is available on our recharter page on our website. So sac-bsa.org/recharter. You will find the paperwork down the bottom. I don't remember if it's under forms or resources, but it will be down there. Annual recharter agreement signed by your executive head or institution head. That would be your pastor or president of the club, but it also should show who that is on your roster. Also signed by your COR, your chartered org representative, and your committee chair. If you have multiple units and those 3 people are all the same, you don't have to sign multiple recharter agreements. You can make that recharter agreement for all your units that those 3 people are the same for and submit it, and I will actually copy it for each unit. If your, because for sure your executive officer and your COR, your charter org representative, are going to be the same if you have multiple units. So if to save the executive head or institute head some signing, I would suggest that you take them one copy and have them sign it, and then just copy it for the rest of your units if you want to do that way. If you have different committee chairs, they can each sign it. But that's just a personal suggestion there. Doesn't have to be followed. But you do need your annual recharter agreement with your executive head, your charter org rep, and your committee chair signature. You need your JTE report with your committee chair and your unit leader signature. As we just went over, you need your official My Dot Scouting unit roster in PDF form with a chartered org signature. And you'll need the $100 unit fee. This all needs to be turned in by November 1st. You can digitally sign some of that as long as it is the official DigiSign, like an Adobe sign or whatever, and it is not just someone typing in their signature and putting it on the page. That is not an official signature. That will not be accepted. But if you have an official DigiSign, Adobe DigiSign, or whatever program you use that gives it is an official signature, that can be accepted in lieu of actual physical signatures on any of the paperwork. And it can all be emailed to me, of course, other than the $100 unit fee, but all the paperwork itself can be emailed to me. I am fine with that if you are comfortable with that, or it can be brought into either of our shop locations in Hagerstown or in Winchester. And again, it is due by November 1st, which is earlier than it has been in past years. So I'm just trying to make sure you all realize it's November 1st. The final thing we're going to go through just real quick to give you a reminder is you need to also update your unit PIN. Please be sure every year when you do Recharter, this is something that you should be doing, updating your unit PIN. You want to make sure that you have that it's appearing on via Scout. You want to allow people to apply online. In our council, this is something that we require. Everyone, every unit, we only do most things. So this has to be clipped as yes, they can apply online. Make sure your contact information is correct. Make sure that if you put additional unit information, that you have that, correctly done. Make sure that what you want displayed, make sure you have permission from your unit leader that your contact information, what is displayed there to display it. So in this case, this is my own unit. I have approved that they can show, well, of course, we want to show our unit meeting address because we want people to know where we're meeting. But I've also, that my name can be displayed, my phone number that I have listed, my email that I have listed, it can all be displayed on the website. And that I also want the additional unit information displayed so that people can know what we're about. We personally do not have a unit website, so I don't feel the need to display scouting.org website, so that one is turned off. On top of that, you need to make sure that your actual meeting location is correct. It was a year or two ago, for some reason, all the unit PIN on the actual map was messed up, and my unit, which meets in Front Royal, was displayed as meeting in Winchester, which is about 20 to 30 minutes away, depending on where the PIN was actually located. So I had to actually submit a ticket to the national about it. Not just mine, but there were several units that had that issue, that we had to contact national about. Real quick for a review for unit dues. A lot of units, in years past have put national membership in with the dues. So how would this change for that unit? Well, that's completely up to the unit. Is the unit paying for all their members' individual renewals? Or have they decided that they're either going to cherry pick it and only pay for maybe their leaders or those scouts that need financial assistance, and everyone else is going to pay for their own? Or are they going to completely individual renewals? So that will determine how your unit dues, is done this year. So for my units, we have separated our registration costs from our unit dues. And so they will now pay their registration costs through the individual renewal. And as a unit, the dues that we collect will be used to cover your advancements, your materials, all the fun things that you do. Oftentimes this is collected in October, but of course that varies by unit. I can tell you, with the new Cub program specifically, you're probably going to be spending more in advancements than you have in the past. The new achievements are much simpler. They have much simpler requirements than they have in years in the past. So you may end up spending more on your belt loops and your pens than you previously have. I know currently for our units, we usually spend about $40 just in awards each year, 40 to 50, depending on how many belt loops and all that are earned. So when you do your annual unit meeting, you need to take this into consideration of how much you're collecting for registration, or for not for registration, for PAC dues. My personal suggestion would be at least $50 for the year. Most of the units in our area are charging between $70 and $100 to $150. Personally, we're charging $100 dues, pack and troop. Our troop pays the same as our pack. Personally is $100 for the year, and that does not include their national registration this year, because again, we opted to have them pay that individually. So that is just an additional plug there for if you have questions about unit dues. That's how you would just deal with that if you previously have had your national registration renewal in with your unit dues. One thing to know, I know previously I mentioned that we are all online applications. That is true with very few exceptions. The exceptions would be if the scout needs financial assistance. We do have financial assistance available through the council. Some units also have financial assistance available, and if that's the case, you would bring a paper application in if the unit is paying for it, or if they need financial assistance through the council, that would also require a paper application. If you are a youth turning adult, so you have a youth in your troop that turned 18, that requires a paper adult application along with the background check, permission form signs, and a youth protection certificate. So that is also a paper application, because as of right now with national system, you cannot transfer your membership from youth to adult. It does not allow you to do that. So that would be another example of when you would bring in a paper application. And this is for the first example, the scout needing financial assistance. That would be for a brand new scout. The second example, of course, is someone who already has a registration, who is who's turning into an adult, an assistant scoutmaster, or a youth participant in a crew, or a post. So those specifically will be paper applications. For merit badge counselors, I do accept paper applications for that. For merit badge counselors, which is considered a district position, or an actual district position to be on the district committee. Those can be paper. However, I can also send you a link so that it can be completed online. The actual application itself can be completed online. The merit badge form, which tells what merit badges you would like to teach and what qualifications you have to teach those, can still be emailed or printed and dropped off at either shop location. But the actual application, I can actually send you an online link that you don't have to fill out a paper application. But if you choose to, I do accept that still as a paper application. So quick rundown, paper applications would be for any district position, including merit badge counselor, a scout who turned 18 with youth protection certificate, or a scout who needs financial assistance. Those are the only paper applications that we accept. If you are in Pennsylvania, you must submit the PA clearances prior to accepting the online adult application. So be sure that you are following the Pennsylvania law and that the clearances have been submitted to the council. And I will put a note on your online application saying that you can go ahead and accept this application because I have their clearances. If you accept an online application in Pennsylvania and those clearances are not handed in, you are assuming the liability as a COR or COR delegate. You are assuming the liability for that, which means that there are consequences that could come through the state, including jail time and fees. So please, if you are a COR, a charter org representative, or charter org representative delegate in Pennsylvania, please do not accept adult online applications without approval from the council verifying that we have their Pennsylvania clearances. So that is all I have. Quick recap, recharges are due November 1st, completely separate from individual renewals. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. If you are not in our council and you are watching this and you have questions, please contact your council's registrar. I hope this gave you the information you need for individual renewals and for our unit recharters for this year. And again, this is what we know as of right now. It seems to be changing every day. So if that changes, I will try to communicate those updates to the Q3 of the unit. I hope you have a good day, and we will, and feel free to email me with questions. Thank you.